Hello and welcome to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night where we have to talk about what happened. Oh, this is morning, by the way. Yes, we have to talk about what happened. I know it's late, but the main important thing is that we are not chasing. We are just doing what we have to do. If you are sleeping, you definitely wake up and you'd have our views and opinion, and also the proceedings of what happened in court. That is the main aim now. We are definitely working against certain circumstances, but we are here.
How was the game?
The game, Bafana.
Yes.
They won. 2-0. And that's another thing that kept us far. Bafana won. Let me say, Mamelodi Sundowns won. I'm not a fan of Sundowns, but they won. Obviously, with a little bit help from Orlando Pirates and this other team. Yes, they won. Mahopa scored, and forgot this guy, Sundowns guy, scored a free kick. So we won against Morocco. Morocco, who's number one in Africa. So some people are saying on Twitter, for other Africans, they must know that automatically, without the rankings, we should just leapfrog everyone and be number one by now. We have just knocked out number one of Africa. Your Hakim, Emrabat,
That's strange. That is very strange.
Yes, the team that was actually standing for us in the World Cup. You'd remember the team that made a bit of history. And then eventually they said that they are not from Africa. You'd remember the drama that we made. But then we don't just make drama as South Africans. We then punish you for that, for not recognizing Africa when things are going well.
Is it Morocco?
Yeah, that's Morocco.
They
That's
said
the
that
team.
they're not Africans.
Yes. They're feeling like they're Europeans.
It was sometime last year.
Yes, it was
a
World Cup.
whole big thing.
We made a lot of noise on Twitter and everyone was just shot. But we've just made sure that we administer one hell of a punishment, and they are out packing the bags, out going home. And they can all go to their respective team. By the way, this is probably one of the most expensive team in terms of the players that they have.
Oh, they have mostly international players.
Yes.
That's interesting. That's
Only,
refreshing.
I think, one player I saw coming in as a substitute who plays at home.
If
rest of the team.
Bafana won against that, then a round of applause for them. But I'm not counting my chickens.
Our friends from Namibia, I don't think they are feeling sorry that we won 4-0 against them. Now they understand that this is...
Oh my God. Sorry, guys.
Now they understand that this is the...
What?
Look, this is Mamelodi Sundowns that is playing in Africa, that plays against your Raja Casablanca, and we know
So
what
you're
Sundowns
saying
is
that
doing.
Namibia has lost?
No,
because
they are still there.
You guys had to...
Namibia,
quarter-final.
we didn't knock them out. They will knock themselves out, but they shouldn't blame South Africa. They are still there. Best number 3, they qualified. So we are not responsible for anything that's going to happen to them. Do you understand? We are very fair neighbors. We don't knock our neighbors out. We don't do that. But yes, we administered one hell of a 4-0 there against them, after they also administered proper whipping against Tunisia. Yes.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Yes, we had to start it with a bit of, because it looks hopeful. It looks hopeful, but I don't want to get my hopes too high. So when I heard that they won, we had to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, they won.
It's unusual.
Mamelodi Sundowns experience helped us a lot there, because I think 90% of the players that are there, or 95%,
95%.
it's Mamelodi Sundowns.
Are Sundowns players. Well done, Sundowns.
No, Bafana is no such thing as Sundowns. When Springbok win against any other team in the World Cup with a lot of Sharks players, no one says, well done, Sharks. We say, well done, Springbok.
That's because we don't follow. We only follow for
Yes.
Stronger Together. We don't follow the local
No, but the
teams.
players that were outstanding in that World Cup were Sharks players.
Okay.
So,
So I shouldn't say that.
don't
My apologies.
Don't do that.
My apologies.
In fact, it's a Pirate player who scored first.
Okay. My apologies.
Must respect. You can say South Africa is Orlando Pirates and Sundowns and some few other teams,
Where's
excluding.
Kaiser Chiefs?
The coach said that they are one hell of a useless
So
team.
there's not even one player, Nyana.
Is there a player from Kaiser Chiefs?
Melebe khona.
No.
With the balance of forces.
Oh, you don't bring cows to eat grass when you want to play on it.
Okay, I get it again. I'm not getting involved.
No, there's no
in
player
that.
from Kaiser Chiefs. You guys can.
I don't want
correct
to
me.
be dragged by Kaiser Chiefs fans. Okay, let's keep it cute. The cross-examination of lead investigating officer Brigadier Gininda continued, with the focus zooming in on accused number 2's lawyer, Ntogozo Mjiako.
Yes.
Remember that on Friday, there was an early adjournment as the transcripts of the accused first appearance in the Boksburg Magistrates Court were being sought. Advocate Baloyi said that correctional services was late in booking out accused number 2, hence the late start. Baloyi said that he received the transcripts of the 27th of October 2020 and there was a delay in the transcripts for the 27th of November 2020 and the 5th of March 2021. They were made available the morning of the proceedings. The morning of the court day. So Mgomezulu said that he has concluded his cross-examination and he had no further questions. He reminded the court that it was actually Mr. Mlisi's turn to cross-examine, and he said he saw no need to repeat to the witness what he has already asked the witness. By the way, we are well aware of the news, the breaking news that happened yesterday regarding Mr. Mgomezulu. With the charges that are put against him. The plan was to deliberate on a separate video as to what is happening, step by step, the details. You know
Look,
how
we
like
can
to
give
do.
you a bit of highlights of what is happening. You remember when I said, when you decide to take on this, I don't know whether I'm going to say I'm correct to say
This
it's a
case.
cabal. You cannot have something that has at some point touch their, I would say their their area, or just exposing you. It's like, even if it's closed, you cannot. And this goes to people who maybe might still want to come to this case. You must be,
Squeaky clean.
and never in your lifetime have you ever been submitted to police for certain reason, one way or another. Even a ticket. I'm talking about your car ticket.
Even a ticket.
Yeah. So did we foresee this? Yes. Remember, we talked about this
At the beginning.
at the beginning. We
when he
talked
came in
about it,
very
that
strong.
there's something coming. We did say there was something coming. But here we are. So and this also shows perhaps the power. If any suspicions are to be true of what we are currently talking about, the power that people seem to undermine.
Or they think it's not happening. They are dilulu. They are dilulu. They are thinking everything is honky dory. It's the law. It's the law.
It's like black and white. It's not black and white. I don't think it's black and white. It will be very reckless of you to think that this thing is just black and white, like Orlando Pirates. No.
It's very complicated.
Very complicated than that.
Issue. Yeah, this is just the beginning, in my opinion.
And we're going to deliberate in some of the proceedings that happened today.
Yeah.
And perhaps people should now start, because the problem with us is we eat what is given on the table. And me, I'm that kind of a person who likes what is in the pot or what you are hiding when you are giving me what you are feeding me.
So you are a critical thinker.
Yes, you must always ask yourself, if you are willing to show me the other hand that has 10 rand, what about the other one? What do you have on the other one?
So Mnisi said that the court transcripts and what is on them also doesn't affect his client, Mthobisi Ncube, accused number 3. The statements are hearsay in nature, is what he said. For the reason, these are some of the reasons why he didn't cross-examine. He said he had no cross-examination for Brigadier Bongani Gininda. The judge asked about the assertion accused number 2 made that he didn't want Mjako representing him on the 27th of October 2020, and the judge wanted to know if there was such an allegation. Mnisi said that what happened was on the 5th of March 2021, the state had brought a letter where Mjako was withdrawing as an attorney on the record, and the magistrate confirmed with accused number 2 where he will be represented by Mjako. Then accused responded and said to the magistrate that the question was to the effect. He said, and I quote, he quoted from the transcript, "Your worship, I heard what is being said before the court." This is accused number 2 telling the magistrate. "But the reason why I want to withdraw is because Mr. Mjiako wanted me to plead guilty to this murder charge. And yes, I do confirm that he is no longer representing me, and I will proceed with the legal aid lawyer." That clip where he's saying, "Yebo ngizomthatha yena lo mmeli we legal aid." That the way he was so fired up, that clip. So it happened on the 5th.
If the rumors on the street of the timeline of Mjiako, as others are casting doubts that at the time he was a rightful lawyer, meaning at the time they are casting doubts, such as far as saying that he couldn't have been at the time admitted fully as a practicing lawyer. Perhaps he could have acquired the degree. That is something that is obviously. I mean, I'm not saying there's a research done on this. This is what the streets are saying, and it's gossips.
Yes.
And you take it as such. That is a gossip. It's rumors.
Rumor has it.
Perhaps if that is the case and that is what the defense is sitting on, it would have been pointless for Mnisi to waste any time if they are going to debunk using that direction.
Okay.
So he was right. And then considering the fact that you are given everything in the morning, which now you have to prepare in a hurry, and you might end up making mistakes that open maybe whatever that the state is waiting for, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in hot waters. The best thing was to let go of whatever questioning that you needed to do, because you needed this thing to prepare in advance so that you can see the loopholes. But if you are given in the morning to continue questioning on it, it would be digging your own grave. And that is the main aim in my own thinking, why these things are coming later when you need them to prepare in advance.
Okay, so
it was the best move to dismiss this thing as not relevant, and just leave it there.
Because I was surprised. In fact, I was upset. I was like, why? Why are you just letting it off the hook like that? Like, what is happening?
No,
are you
it's
scared? Is it
good.
because of what happened to Mgomezulu?
Remember, this is a
What
trial.
is happening?
This is a trial within trial.
Okay.
From what we are saying, as much as Mgomezulu had, for me, hit the nerves and all that, I still think that the judge is going to rule otherwise. So this man is going to come back. Obviously, it looks like the judge is going to rule otherwise. If you don't want to believe me, look at what happened to Mshololo towards the end.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That's like a red tape, like blocking type of high-level type of blocking, and putting you off when you need to be in your rhythm. And that is obviously my opinion. And exactly doing what people are saying the judge is doing, interfering, answering. In fact, by saying that you must not repeat questions, which I don't know which law is that says you must not repeat questions.
The fact that it was quoted from a judgment.
It's a
says
judgment.
lot.
It's a judgment that looked to minimize that. But repeating question might also be a form of you not being satisfied by the answers.
With good reason. I mean, the person had he had a whole team of lawyers. Okay. So it made sense then to say that, you know what, you can't be asking witnesses the same question, repeating while you are representing. You are all representing one client.
If you read that judgment, actually, it talks about a defense that is defending one or common accused.
Yes.
In a sense, in a case of
it was actually
Mgomezulu,
one.
in a case of common, let me say common.
Okay.
Common in a sense that it could be 2, 3, 4 of those people, like Ramsipedi and Mgomezulu.
Yes.
You cannot have Mgomezulu questioning after Ramsipedi questioned.
Yes.
And that is understandable.
Yes.
But with regards to Mshololo, it left something to be wondered.
And why now, all of a sudden, when this particular witness is on the stand? You've let Bomukhani go through it, Bomukhula. Every cop witness has went through this cross-examination, and now it has to change. Why?
Hence, I'm saying that it can only mean that you are defending the position that you are willing to take. And probably that position is to make sure that you are ruling in favor of the state. When it comes to admissibility of that evidence, you have concluded to say that you are accepting it. Because we can all agree that as much as you preach that you listen careful, it seems as if most of the things that you listen to, when you bring them back, they are either wrong, the names, or so that would tell you that whatever that you say you are listening to is exactly not that. It's an opposite of that. Maybe you have taken a certain position, you are just letting this thing flow, and then you don't want more loopholes that are going to be poked by the defense. Then you put a red tape and say, I want to close this thing.
Yeah, and it also feels like the listening is to points that will support the decision that he perhaps will take at the end. You know, when you are listening selectively for what you need, it's giving me those vibes, in my opinion. I'm not saying that that's what he's doing, but I remember being a student, and some lectures I would not be able to take everything, but I wanted to take what I need to pass. Then I said, it's giving me those vibes.
Yes, and that means we are not partial.
I want what I want.
Selective.
What can get me what I need to pass. I'm selecting what I need. I'm not going to take everything that you are saying because it's overwhelming.
And the judge is not supposed to be in that position.
but it's giving that. It's giving that very much so, in my opinion. So Mnisi also read the part of Mjiako asking the court for permission for accused number 2 to speak to the court. Now, the interesting thing that I picked up about this transcript is that it left out the part where Mjiako said accused number 2 wanted to address the court, but he wanted to address the court with nothing that had with something that had nothing to do with the court proceedings. And I was like, wow, are you really not going to ask about that part? It was very interesting. So, yeah, it seemed to Mnisi let it go. And even the part where he's accused was implicated in the confessions, but he did say that they are hearsay regarding the pictures of the bags with the money. I guess that will be elaborated upon in the trial, in the main trial.
He's right, Mngomezulu is right. You cannot labor, and I've seen this behavior before when it comes to Mngomezulu.
Okay.
If you remember, when he said that there is no dispute that is accused number 3 on the picture. There's no dispute on that, my lord. And it was a very uncomfortable admission for most of people who were watching the case. They felt like he's failing the client. But what has that done is that it has minimized the involvement of this client, because when he got time, he poked holes to such an extent that at some point Ngumeni was perceived as his client. And just by highlighting those few things when time was permitting, it threw off a lot of things. And then from there, people didn't play closer to his client, and they started now choosing to go to Ntanzi, because one has to wonder why we are still on the issues of accused 1 and 2. If you look at what they call their law, where they say hearsays are not admissible, from the beginning of this whole thing, if you hear what these people are confessing and allegedly confessing, it's hearsays. And there is that, what is that rule that they say, where they say one person's confession should not be used as a sort of a blanket approach to go and arrest the next person.
Yes.
Which is what exactly they did.
They did exactly that, didn't they?
Yes.
So what's gonna happen? Dintang. What's gonna happen? Because that's exactly what happened. They said accused number 1 confessed, pointed accused number 2 pointed accused number 3 pointed accused. Manje, the back in this trial within a trial stops with accused number 1 and number 2. And so far they've narrated how it happened. And both of them are saying that these people came with these forms filled in and they forced us to sign. Right. Already it was written down, they forced us to sign. But they are unwilling to hear that part, or the court is grasping it. It can't quite accept it, because here are the police. They're saying we did everything properly. Everything was done in a procedural manner. The forms were filled, the pro forma forms. Advocate Mshololo will later cross-examine on them, and before Advocate Mshololo did it was actually Advocate Zitulele Ngumalo who had a cross-examination, and he was poking on the process itself as well, which is also what Advocate Mshololo was doing, to say that, you know what, the paperwork, and it seems the paperwork was not done accordingly, in my opinion, from looking at this cross-examination, because I've always wondered, the paperwork, how does it work in the South African police? How can you be sure that this police officer took down a confession, sat down and took a confession, versus they just filled it in and forced you to sign? How would you be able to tell a difference? That's what I'm interested in.
There is no telling on who's right, but there seem to be that biasness when it comes to the judgments that you are seeing, because if you look at this situation, what the police say, it holds more than the person who's accused, because of the nature of your position as an accused. Already you are perceived, even though people are not going to tell you in your face at this point in time, because that's not what the so-called law detects.
Yes.
But already there is that judgment towards you. Hence, you would listen to when Tanzi was trying to fight at the regional court, talking, he was shut down.
Yes.
As a lunatic.
Yes.
If I may call it.
How dare you?
How dare
you want to address my lord?
It has that post 1994 effect. And we cannot ignore it. And the funny thing is, when you see it being applied by a person of color, it makes you cringe, because these things were done on purpose. You were not supposed to address a certain person as a person of no color, and they are still doing it even today. What is painful about being addressed by an accused? If it does implicate himself, as you would say, look, you because you are not qualified, you have advised that you are not qualified, you might implicate yourself. But if you do and you insist, you want to overrule the person that is in front of you, please, by all means. The main aim here is to help the court.
Yes.
And if whatever that you want to bring is going to assist the court, why should you shut down? What if, as you were shutting down, wanted to actually admit that, okay, just close this thing. I did it.
What if?
What if? I'm just making.
You will never know,
because you shut him down. Speak through your lawyer. What is the relevance of that?
And why was this lawyer forced on him? I felt like he was forced on him for him to even say that. What if he wanted to say, I don't want this lawyer? We will never know. Why? Because you shut him down. Right?
Yeah, pre. Thank you for correcting me. Pre-apartheid.
So Ngumalo then said, is it correct your powers as a brigadier in South African police are equivalent to that of a magistrate in terms of taking statements? And Gininda said yes. He gave another essay explanation. I wasn't born. I took what I needed, Mdagaba. What's important is that we got a yes. Then Ngumalo then said, you normally use the SAP triple M, small letter M. I don't know what form that is, but that's how he called it. It was M, capital letter M with a small letter M at the end. And that is the statement regarding interviewing suspects. And Gininda said, no, that is a formal way a counsel is referring to a warning statement. But when you meet the person on the street and you warn the person according to the first encounter with him, this 3M interview form is not in your presence. But that engagement, because it's official in nature, you can document it as I did in my diary. So it doesn't necessarily mean it becomes formal when it is documented in the interview form.
What ought to have happened in South Africa, and perhaps when people say they are advancing these conversations of law and whatnot, we do need cameras.
Yes.
We do need cameras.
They are needed now. Body cams and even cameras of confessions
being
taken
we
down.
Do need those things.
They are needed.
I don't
now.
understand why we are still running like we are in 1993.
Where there's no cameras,
Where certain people were trusted.
Technology has advanced, but yet how our government does things does not want to advance. It doesn't. They are still stuck there.
All we are doing, we are increasing police personnel that are just not going to assist in any case.
No.
With no system in place that is actually looking to assist also the citizen. Then we call this thing democracy. How is it democracy if your word is still minimized as a person who's accused, and then as a person who's a police, then you are trusted as a rightful person who should tell the truth and is able to tell the truth just because you put your hand in some Bible.
And what do? You obviously want to become a cop, you have good intentions, you're going to fight crime. And then when you get there, you find a different story and you find that it's an overwhelming majority. What do? Aren't you also going to join in?
Yeah, definitely. You must barge in.
And there's nothing that can help you to fight that type of system, right? So what ends up happening? You also become a part of the rot. They say one rotten potato in a bag of potatoes spoils the entire pack. So literally, these are the kind of things that are happening in South Africa right now. And those recordings could really help mitigate some of the things. They could help. Because if you haven't switched on your body cam, what were you doing?
That thing should be thrown out of court.
Exactly. What were you doing? Why is your body cam off? Stuff like that. They are needed now. Because a lot is going on. Ngumalo then asked that there is also a statement you made on the 15th of October. Okay, before he asked that, he asked, when did you meet accused number 2 first? And Gininda said that he met accused number 2 on the 18th of June 2020 in Carltonville. Right? So Ngumalo then asked, there's also a statement you made on the 15th of October 2023 at 7 o'clock. 15th of October 2023 at 7 o'clock. Guys, are we for real? Like, the statement is so fresh.
It is.
It's commissioned by Elizabeth Matlaku, and it is a typed version of the statement. Gininda said, please show me the statement. Gininda wanted to have a look at it first, and the judge wanted to know if it was part of the exhibits. Turns out it was part of the exhibits, and it was even supplied by the state. Even Advocate Baloyi looked like he didn't know of the statement, but actually is the one who handed it in. One thing I like about Advocate Nkumalo is that he will find papers.
Yeah.
He's good at that. Then Nkumalo then asked, do you confirm that the statement was made by you? And Gininda said, correct. Nkumalo asked, you signed it? And Gininda said, yes, I signed it. And then Nkumalo asked, was it commissioned? And he said, yes. The judge asked if the statement was related to the trial within a trial. The statement was regarding the meeting that the brigadier had with accused number 4. And Nkumalo asked that paragraph 10, you say, after accused number 2 was arrested for a different matter, I proceeded to Western area on and after the 16th of June 2020 to interview him. So according to you, it was on the 18th of June when you met accused number 2. And Gininda said, I met him on the 18th. It does say so, on or after. Was the statement about the investigation you did leading up to the arrest of accused number 2? And Gininda said, my lord, one would have to read this because I do know that during the proceedings in this trial, there were a lot of requests that came from the defense, and they came to me through the state. They said this, they said that. Defense was asking for an explanation. They were asking for this. They were asking for a cell phone. They were asking for changing of statements. So if I look at the date of October 23, I can assure you, my lord, one has to read it, but I can assure you that it was at the behest of the defense. I'm just not sure of the contents of it. One would have to read it. So this statement is supposed to narrate the encounter that Brigadier Gininda had with accused number 4. And it was made in October 2023. Guys, this is just last year. This is just like a couple of months ago as the trial was happening. What is going on? And we're supposed to brush over these things like they don't mean anything. However, I can't ignore this.
The best English is used of saying that this is an ongoing investigation.
Walena. How are you? We're supposed to just ignore these nitty-gritties like they mean nothing. How are these things are dodgy? Where is the original statement where you actually had these encounters with accused number 4? At least when you hand in this typed statement, hand it in with the original one. That is handwritten. That is fresh from your meeting with accused number 4. Why are you now typing statements and then not handing in the original one? And then we are supposed to believe these things. Guys, no. I cannot ignore this. Ngumalo then said, is it correct that when you met accused number 2 on the 18th of June in 2020, he also gave you information? Gininda said, with regard to this matter, yes, he did. So he's saying that accused number 2 gave him information. Right. Then Ngumalo asked, did you record it anywhere? And Gininda said, yes, in my diary. Now he has a diary. All the other cops that have come to testify, Brigadier Gininda is the only one who has a diary. Congratulations to him for managing to keep a diary.
Yeah, and that is Emily's view.
Yes, and of which he made copies to the defense.
I don't share it because if anything can be written and be new, I don't know, man.
He writes a lot. Mm-hmm. He's a writer. Let us not shy away from him being a writer. We are Bala.
Does he?
Brigadier Gininda.
Why the handwriting differs somehow?
Does it?
There was a question asked about handwriting. Was that your handwriting by Ngumalo? Remember that part?
Oh. And then what did he say? I don't.
Not his.
He said it's not
but
his
he signed on it.
But he signed on it. Yeah, he said he made copies to the defense of that diary. And yeah, he's very good at writing. So there was a moment of silence when Ngumalo was reading through the 18th day. Perhaps it was on the diary or on the statement, I don't know. But the judge asked, what was the problem? And to me, in my opinion, it felt like he was insinuating that Ngumalo did not read the statement before coming to court. Or something like that. That's what it felt like. And Ngumalo said...
When they ask you what is the problem, they are just putting a stamp on the issues of, I have accepted that. This is what I accept. I take it as it is and I believe it. For me, that's what it screams. When he says, what's the problem? It's like, I don't see any problem. I'm taking it as it is and I believe it.
Ngumalo then asked, did accused number 2 mention any other persons who were involved in the omission of the offense? And the judge asked, are you listening to the questioning on behalf of your client, asking Mr. Mgomezulu? And Mgomezulu said, may I ask my colleague to withdraw the question? So he didn't want him to ask or to continue in the manner of questioning where he was going. So the judge was like, Mr. Mgomezulu, are you okay with that? Are you okay with him going that way? And Mgomezulu was like, no, I'm going to ask him to withdraw the question. Well, the judge said if this witness answers this question, it's only fair for Mr. Mgomezulu to say what is his view or comment regarding the question. So I'm guessing that something was wrong with this question in particular. It's
what was the
more
question
like
again?
Implicating accused number 2.
What was the question again?
I'm gonna need to go on the script here.
Because I'm trying to to understand what could have been wrong, and why was he stopped from asking that question further. Because sometimes in that court they make you feel like you're about to mess up.
Like you're about to blow the case. That's what it felt like. It felt like maybe he's probing into something that he shouldn't be probing into, and it doesn't concern him or his client. So let me look for the question here.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand why a judge is always pointing. Do you want him to go there? As if, in any case, sometimes these things, just let them go there. I mean, at the end of the day, we see what is happening. It's not like you're still playing any chess game. Because obviously, I can tell you now, these statements are going to be admissible. Because if they're not, this case is done.
So the question was, did accused number 2 mention any other persons who were involved in the omission of the offense? So he was asking if accused number 2 pointed at any of the other accused in basic English.
Oh yeah, no, the question was wrong because it was accepting the what Ngomezulu is rebuffing in as far as these statements are concerned.
That they were not,
because when you are asking that question, you are saying it happened and it was correct.
Oh, so yes, that's why the question had to go.
Yes, it had to go because you are asking the meat of what is in the statement. And yet the statements are
being debunked.
They are being debunked.
Okay, that makes sense. So Ngumalo then said, as you were conducting the interview with accused number 2, did you record anywhere else besides your diary? It could be the form of a statement. And Gininda said, yes, the 2 I have read. When I applied prior to application, a summary of what transpired, including a memorandum to the DPP prior to them being inducted, and also the SAP file. Ngumalo then asked, is it correct that on the 6th of July 2020 you met accused number 4 at Veiws prison? And Gininda said yes. Ngumalo asked, you used the warning statement form? And Gininda said, I don't have the warning statement. I did the interview with him and used a warning statement. So Ngumalo asked, why did you not use the warning statement with accused number 2? Because with accused number 4, who was in prison at Veiws, he was able to carry all the documentation and fill it in. He even had that warning statement. But with accused number 2, he didn't have a warning statement. I think this was labored before we went into the holidays in December. It was labored about how. Yes. Then Gininda said, at the time when I met accused number 2, the information I had on him was not the same as that of accused number 4. The information we had on accused number 4 was different. Ngumalo went through a statement that the brigadier had done on the 15th of October. It had about 4 pages of the important parts. Then he asked Brigadier, how would you remember word for word if you did not document what accused number 2 said on the 18th of June 2020? And Gininda said, I did indicate. I noted it down on my diary. Subsequent to that, a confession was made the next day on the 19th of June. Yeah, he sure has written a lot of statements, but he does not really remember the contents of these statements, in my opinion, which are supposed to be his investigations, right? And I'm perplexed by that, because if you've really done an investigation and you've really worked and you've grinded, you know details of your case, you will merely use a statement to just jog your memory of certain things. But to completely rely on statements is rather really concerning, in my opinion. This is just me thinking aloud that, I remember I was invested in the Nandipa and Besta situation, and I remember that detective who was testifying. He was even doing it in Sesotho. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember him.
And I don't remember hearing papers, him needing to remember what. I don't remember that. But in this trial, there's so much reference to statements in such a manner that they feel paralyzed without them. And I'm like, if you've actually investigated and you've actually went to the ground and you've it's confusing to me. If you've actually done the hard labor and investigated, you shouldn't be heavily relying on a statement like this. Even with Mohani, it was the same situation where he was literally reading a statement as part of his
defense,
testimony.
they can say they are dealing with a lot of cases, and you can accept that maybe this one, the reason why he could remember this is the biggest case that he has to deal with. By the looks of things, about Gininda, they always have a lot of cases that are big, that they are dealing with.
Does the investigations only happen with the paperwork, or do they actually go to the ground and they speak to people and they dig for it?
He delegates,
that
right?
Thrill you
He's
get
not
when
the
you find
one.
something new.
He's not the one to go on the ground. From what we are hearing in this case, he gets his leads through the people that report under him, because all of these people, no one had a direct interaction with him before anything else. All of them, they came through because of some ghost cases from Mukhale, whatnot. Do you understand? There is no, from this case, there is no I went 1, 2, 3, I did 1, 2, 3. It's more of confirming what was done by Mukhane, and all that. I mean, the defense...
Is that even investigating?
No, that's not investigating. You cannot regard it as investigating if your cases and your arrests are just dropping on and falling on your lap through someone who decided to go investigate Nongoma case that was closed. You can call it investigation in that sense. You are just lucky. For me, it's a very huge lucky that one wishes to have, where things would just fall in your lap.
In your lap like that, and you don't have to go to the scene of the incident, ask the people that were in the house questions.
And also, I guess the rest skill that you have, that most of your cases people confess. It's also something that is not heard of.
A miracle.
In most of the cases that I've seen. If you notice, even with Kreja,
yes, there was confessions there as well.
Hence, there was this trial within trial thing. So it's very, it's something that one needs to clap for. If it does happen in that manner.
Look at him and they're implicated in crimes and they're like, I want to confess.
But my worry is that after they confess, then they turn and then they say, no, we actually did not confess. And that is something that you need to worry about, because if you confessed and you are happy and some Gomezulu comes to you and say, did you confess? Yeah, I confessed. It's okay. Let's just go negotiate for me to get a lesser sentence. There is no need to have a trial within a trial.
No.
So that's where I lose it, because
this entire trial would not be happening.
Because I mean, I confessed, why then do I change? And it's not something that is happening in one case, This is happening in most of the cases that we have seen on TV. There's a trial within a trial where the admissibility of of these confessions is being questioned. And Ngomezulu also said, I know you. Probably it was through the trial within a trial where he also dealt with the same thing. And then it is alleged that he won, right, at that time.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ngumalo now handed those copies of Gininda's diary to him, and he wanted to probe more on the entry of the 18th of June 2020. The judge asked Mr. Ngumalo, what is this cross-examination about? Is it the contention that the client signed a statement which Brigadier calls a warning statement? Ngumalo said that it's clarity-seeking questions. The judge asked, are you spotting a rebuttal that your client never signed a warning statement which was allegedly made by a client before Brigadier Gininda? What is it about? And Ngumalo said that according to his client, when the Brigadier came in, or when he came to him on the 6th of July 2020, there was a warning statement that was completed by his client. And the crux of the question is if he was able to use a warning statement when interviewing accused number 4, and why was he not able to use the same warning statement to interview accused number 2? The judge said that Ngumalo was speaking in riddles and wanted him to answer if his client signed the warning statement or not. So this, to me, it was another one of those ratata moments that I just felt like, what is he doing? Like right now, it felt like he was forcing Ngumalo to
show his hand,
to admit also that his client signed a warning statement.
Yes, he's actually trying to, most of the time, to just put, it's like it's a trap.
Yes, because Ngumalo was saying that my client says that you came with a warning statement. He did not say my client signed a warning statement. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
And then Ratha just wants him to admit that his client signed a warning statement, knowing very well that this is what it's going to do. It's going to flip this whole trial upside down. You understand? So it was kind of a tricky situation, but he navigated his way out of it. Well, okay, they said this is a trial within a trial. This is the judge telling everyone in the court, and he said it is to explore the admissibility of the statements that were made, even warning statements. Nisi had to stand up and remind the court that the state said that it will no longer be intending to prove the admissibility of the admission statements of accused number 3, number 4, and number 5. They did say so when they began this trial within a trial.
Yes.
Advocate Baloyi said that he will not be pursuing that, the warning statements of accused number 3, number 4, and number 5. And I feel, in my opinion, is because they were the most stubborn. Even with the court appearances, did you see how
they didn't budge in anything that was being given to them? They spoke for themselves. They refused to even go on a stand.
Yes.
They were clear as to how they met Gininda.
Yes.
In particular, Ntuli said when he came, he was here for Butelezi. And then next thing we see us being thrown in this case.
Yes.
So there was a lot of loopholes. So they needed to consolidate accused number 1 and number 2 to implicate the rest.
And when you look at accused number 1 and number 2, prior to 2020 when they got arrested, both of them were never arrested before.
Yes.
They never had criminal charges prior.
Yes, there was no experience to say the least with how to deal with or navigate the situation.
Yeah.
So they were the weakest link.
They were the weakest links, in my opinion. Okay, in our opinion. So, yeah, and he said it no longer attempts to prove anything against the accused in this trial within a trial. This is Mnisi saying that to the judge. And the judge asked, can the state use those warning statements? Then Advocate Mnisi said that it can't because it did not prove them to be admissible. The judge said that Advocate Baloyi should have argued for the warning statements to be admissible and that he needs to make an application to abandon that admissibility. How come did he miss this? Using the case State versus Gama, the judge said to Nxumalo, you know what is the consequences of soliciting hearsay evidence. And Nxumalo said that he has not elicited what is contained in the warning statement form. And the judge asked him, what is he talking about? And what is this cross-examination about if he's not soliciting statements? Nxumalo repeated that he wants to know why he did not use a warning statement for accused number 2. And he said that he got an answer from him. Gininda said that regarding the warning statements of accused number 2, it was taken. Subsequently, something and another long story essay of what he was saying. But what's important is that he did take the warning statement from his answer. That's what I deduced, is that he said yes, he took the warning statement for accused number 2, while Mukhani did not. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Then Nxumalo said, on the 19th of June 2020, you said you made arrangements for accused number 2 to be taken to Colonel Ratha. And Gininda said yes. Nxumalo asked, are there any arrangements that you made for him to be taken to a magistrate? And Gininda said no. Nxumalo asked then to a surgeon, pre-post confession. And Gininda said it was post, in between the first and the second confession on the 22nd of June 2020. So Nxumalo asked, was he taken to the district surgeon? And Gininda said he was taken to a qualified dental doctor. A district surgeon and a dental doctor are not the same profession.
No.
Nxumalo concluded his cross-examination. Now it was time for Advocate Zandile Mshololo to continue or to start her cross-examination of Brigadier Gininda. But however, before she could start, she asked by asking for an adjournment. Okay, and I know a lot of people are annoyed. A lot of people were annoyed.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you are given something in the morning, how are you supposed to revise that thing?
Yeah, guys, consider that they got like the transcripts of those court proceedings in the morning. 2 of them. They only got 1 yesterday. So 2 of them came in the morning. And with court transcripts, you have to compare with the recording and compare with your client and what your client has to say for themselves. You understand? It's a process, this thing. You can't just take this transcript and start cross-examination right away and then you find, I've already answered that question. I've already answered that question. I've already answered. So yes, she had to prepare. Maybe I was forgiving of her for that. So she received the transcripts in the morning and she said she needed time to confirm with his learned colleagues and her client. And at the time it was around 11:10 and she asked for the adjournment to be until 2 o'clock. But the judge was first hostile and he said no, 12 o'clock. And eventually he agreed to the 2 o'clock. So in the post-lunch adjournment sitting, Advocate Mshololo began her cross-examination of Brigadier Gininda, and Mshololo rose to say that she is cross-examining on behalf of accused number 2. And of course, this threw the court in a whole standstill. Miss Tantansi. But before they stopped her, she managed to ask a couple of questions, and one of them was to Brigadier Gininda, you have testified before this court that at the time when accused number 2 was arrested, which was the 16th of June 2020, there were many pending cases against him. Am I correct? And Gininda said, no, you are not correct. When you say pending, my understanding of pending is that the matters were enrolled. There are no matters that are enrolled against Mr. Ntanzi. There were cases that were identified, and he was a person of interest in those matters, so they were not pending.
So why was he kept in custody?
Didn't he say he has a lot of cases? It's a lot and a lot of cases.
He is actually debunking what he said.
He is. Because you said there's a lot of cases. He was a person of interest. There's a lot of cases that he had, and we still needed to look at those cases. It's been 3 years now, 4 years now. We are going into 4. Right, we're going into 4 years now, because they were arrested in 2020, and you're saying he has these many lot of cases. Mshololo then asked another question by asking what was the status of whatever that you have, were the cases what was those cases that I can refer properly to the status of those case dockets. And Gininda said when accused number 1 and 2 were brought to them as the accused in this matter, cold case analysis was done. Abantu basebenzisa ama-term cold case analysis. Cold case analysis was done, and the number of cold cases where the person of interest, in other words, suspects other than this matter, were then identified. So this cold case analysis is what he used to identify Ntanzi in these many cases.
I don't care. I could be sitting here and having 100 cases due to court case analysis. But should I be kept in custody?
No,
because some cold case analysis.
Because they're still investigating. That's not fair.
Tool. I don't know. You know that too. It's like when they're talking about cold case analysis, they're talking about a software.
You know, I'm like, once people start throwing in these analysis terms, you are expecting a special software that you just put in Bongani Ntanzi's name and it's like he's been in this case, he's been in this case, he's been in this case. It would be nice, but the problem is that other Nongoma case is closed. Where is his court appearance for that one?
This reminds me
Where is the implication for the one that is closed?
This reminds me of one of my colleagues, former colleagues. You know, when you have to go and report as to what you've been busy with for a week, he would come and say, we used to call him deep dive analysis. He would come and say, I was doing a deep dive analysis. Week in, week out. Week in, week out.
He's and you know, when I hear deep dive analysis, I'm thinking, oh, these are some serious things. Oh, these are some serious stuff.
So in my head, I would ask myself,
what is deep dive analysis? What? It sounds so fancy.
No, I understand what deep dive analysis means. But what I didn't understand is, when do we get to see this deep dive analysis being presented to us? Whatever project that is, you're doing deep dive analysis.
Interesting. I'd like to see it too.
So everything is deep dive analysis, deep dive analysis. And you ask yourself, doesn't the manager realize that this person is just using this thing week in, week out, week in, week out? And even today, he would still use it. He still does. I'm doing deep dive analysis.
What are the results of the deep dive analysis? What does it do? Like, explain it to me.
And when on the other side, you'll be...
I want to see it.
You'll be told...
Just like I want to see this cold case analysis.
You'll be told...
See it.
You'll be told to rush, finish the project. While this one on the other side is doing deep dive analysis. What deep dive analysis? Because we're also doing analysis. We're building mathematical models. We're doing everything that we can do. When what deep dive analysis are you doing? In fact, building model, it's a deep dive on its own, because you cannot just wake up and just build a model out of nowhere. So you need to do analysis and look at your data, see how your data is going to fit, which model is going to suit your data, and run those models concurrently, see the other model that is performing. So you're doing a deep dive analysis.
So have you seen models of his deep dive analysis?
No, nothing. There's always deep dive analysis. So now we're talking about this analysis now of cold case. Hey, these cases, 30 cases.
I want to see how it links up.
30 cases are not gonna materialize. I can tell you now.
How is the deep dive analysis of the cold cases?
30 cases. 30 of them. Nothing is going to happen. I can tell you now.
I want to see that cold case analysis. Okay. I'm interested, because even you sitting at home, you could be sitting there relaxing, watching us right now. Kanti, you are in a cold case analysis, Mtagabao. So you must know how it works and understand it. You understand? It's a very important analysis, that one.
It's fine.
So there was no pending matter. And my understanding of a pending matter is a matter that is before the court. That was Brigadier Gininda shading the hell out of Advocate Mshololo. Okay.
The understanding of a pending matter.
And it's a matter that is before the court.
People, that's not true.
It's not true. Explain to us.
No.
I have checked out when it comes to Brigadier Gininda. I'm gone.
Think about what
I'm tired.
Think about what this man is saying.
Okay. I'm thinking.
A pending matter is a matter that is before the court.
Yes, that's what he said. He told the court. It's a matter that is before the court.
A pending matter could be a matter that is being investigated. It's a matter that is in a state, unfinished state, but in progress. That's a pending matter. It doesn't have to be before the court.
Well, because he talks too much, you end up saying, whatever.
No.
Say whatever you want to say. We are exhausted. So that's the reach I have reached. That's the destination I have reached with.
Caesar is asking a question. If you were Ratha and you're given this evidence, what would you do? You would throw it out. I would throw it out, like they did in Peter Marisbeck. When that guy, in fact, in Peter Marisbeck, it was even worse, because that guy is said to have come in that court and wanting to admit in that court
first
that
appearance.
I'm the one who took Senzo's life.
And they're like,
And the court was like, come on.
Why are you lying?
Get out of here.
And lie, waste the cost time.
Hey.
Get out.
As Veiws said, I would do that. I would listen and say, guys, I don't see why I should continue here. I don't see this case. I don't see anything. I would suggest to those people up there that
there's no weight.
They just leave. There's no weight here.
The evidence is not evidencing. It should have more weight.
If in Peter Marisbeck people can kick you out of their court for wasting their time, just kick you out. What is stopping this judge?
I don't know.
Are we saying that there's honesty that side of KZN?
Perhaps there's more
because
standing for truth.
If you compare judgment coming from KZN in reality now, just judgments, most judgments, different scenarios.
Maybe there's a bit of also safe. They're not taken out.
For instance, it was in KZN when a judge recused himself in President Zuma's case, right?
Yes.
It was in KZN.
Yes, it was in Peter
where he felt
I
like
remember.
he's not gonna be partial.
Yes.
And he recused himself.
He did.
It was in KZN where a guy who came to confess was kicked out of the court. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems as if those people are still applying a bit of what we call law.
In Gauteng, it's very tricky. It's murky waters. It's
in Gauteng,
609.
you don't want to kick yourself out.
You are not sure.
You want someone to apply to kick you out. Even after they've kicked you out, you still listen to them, sit on that judgment, and judge that you are going to stay. That is Gauteng for you.
Aye. Well, yeah, Baloyi objected, okay, and saying that the law says no two counsel can cross-examine a witness on behalf of the same accused. You know, to think that this law actually came with our honorable judge.
No, it didn't come with it. He read the judgment on it. So,
no, I mean initially when he was trying to stop Mgomezulu from cross-examining, cross-examining who was on the stand at the time. I can't quite remember.
But I remember.
But he was trying to block the cross-examination from happening, saying that Ramosipili had already begun the cross-examination.
That was correct.
But then now Advocate Baloyi is using it also.
I think the wording there, to be fair, the wording of on behalf of, it sort of confused. You were supposed to say, because my client's name has been now and then mentioned, I would like to clarify a few issues. Yeah, what are that clarifying issues? It leaves things hanging in the air. It is not specific to say that I'm defending so and so, you know. So, on behalf of so and so, can be perceived as you are working as a defense for accused number 2.
Okay. So he took it to Advocate Baloyi, so an opportunity.
And the judge gave Mshololo a chance to say, do you perhaps want to rephrase the way you want to put that? Because once you say this, so Mshololo was supposed to rephrase and say, just clarity seeking questions.
She said, I'm entitled to cross-examine the witness on the evidence that he testified on.
But not on behalf of accused number 2.
Okay.
Yes, we are entitled to cross-examine in defense of your client, but not on behalf of someone else's client. You can ask questions that rose because of accused number 2 as a clarity-seeking questions, because you are also mandated to assist the court. There is nothing wrong with that, but when you said on behalf of accused number 2 and you do not want to withdraw that, it becomes an issue now.
So she should have withdrawn it.
And said, perhaps, my lord, I'm looking for just clarity in some of these questions. They might sound repetitive, but I'm just looking for clarity because I want to make sure.
And then the judge asked for the judgment, State versus Basson. There was an argument for about 30 minutes that ensued, but in the midst of that argument, Nisi said that it's a very long judgment, you know, asked if they should rather proceed instead, and Mshololo was willing to let it go by saying that if the court says she should not cross-examine, then she will do as the court pleases. But the judge told her to stop saying that. He said it's not him, it's the law. The law says. Mshololo is checked out. Mshololo is no longer invested in the combating and the arguments. She's like, you know what, if the court says, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to let it go.
But the choice of words there, it puts the court also in jeopardy, because it says that the court was interfering with and also denying the defense a chance to defend their client. All this could have been avoided by saying, just like Ngumalo said.
What did he say?
Clarity. Just looking for clarity. That's it. And also I'm assisting the court.
Mshololo was like, you know what? If the court says, stop saying that. Stop saying it's the court. It's the law. The law says. Yeah, ne? And then they asked her if she can phrase it some other way, perhaps it could be admissible. Well, Judge Mokwatleng read the judgment and he said that he will bend the rule and allow Mshololo to proceed. He said you can continue if you want to. What do you think went wrong as the judge was reading that judgment?
That judgment, it did not cover exactly what Mshololo was doing, because Mshololo has not declared herself as a defense of accused number 2.
Yes.
So meaning that he can ask questions. She can ask questions on behalf of her client. So in this case, if you had it, they say there were two. I think there were 2 advocates who were vying for different, I would say different topics, but there was overlapping in their line of questioning. Therefore, they had to put that rule to sort of avoid those overlaps.
And repetition of
questions.
Yes.
So it did not cover exactly what Mshololo's position, because Mshololo is not declared as accused number 2 or 1 defense.
Yes.
So she still has to ask questions.
Okay. Well, Mshololo started off by asking, is it correct that under the Nongoma case 16310 of 2018, which was being investigated at the time that accused number 2 was arrested, you do not have a warrant of arrest for accused number 2? And Gininda said, I answered that, my lord. The judge also agreed with Brigadier Gininda and even went on to add on, by saying that Sergeant Mohani was the one who was making the arrests for the Nongoma case. Here, it felt like Brigadier Gininda did not understand the question. And if he did, he didn't think to answer it that way. And the judge answered it on his behalf. And then Mshololo asked, and until to date, as you are testifying, there's no warrant of arrest that has been authorized against accused number 2. And Gininda said, I've answered that question, my lord. The judge asked Mshololo.
On the process of trying to correct Mshololo, the judge eventually opens the way or paves the way of a certain behavior in all these people that are giving evidence. There is no need for Mngomezulu to be evasive. The questions and the line of questioning of Mshololo that Mshololo was on, it was correct. Ayikho wrong. It was correct. And I will demonstrate why I say it was correct as you continue reading. But what happened is that now, all of a sudden, before the question is answered, I have answered that. There is no need for that from a head of investigation of the cold case. There is no need for that. If you said what you said and you were correct, and you are not afraid that you might deviate from what you said before, then your answers should be swiftly and clear.
They should be consistent and the same. Even if you are asked the same question,
but because somewhere, somehow, there was, for me, and this is according to my own opinion, a feeling that you might actually deviate when these questions are asked in this manner that they are asked on. Because now, the position of Mshololo is more of a confirmation position. Let us confirm what you've just said. Let us go through this and that and that. And if you were saying it and it happened the way you said it happened, no need for you to say, I have already answered also that, my lord. There's no need for you to say that.
And because the judge was doing this, somehow I feel like it disrupted the building, the base.
I heard you say that. But I also feel
now
like...
it felt like the questions were coming in like...
No, I feel like Mshololo did well. Out of all these things, nothing... I actually enjoyed listening to her. To me, it makes
Really?
sense. Yes.
And people were thinking she had a bad day. A lot of people think she had a bad day.
Read. I will show you why I say that.
Well, the judge asked Mshololo if she was in court when the Brigadier Gininda testified. And then again, he fakazad and added on that some more to say that the J50 warrants of arrest were issued for all 5 accused.
Now you see what Mshololo was doing here. He was talking about which case? The Nongoma case that brought accused number 2 in jail to begin with. And there, if you listen careful, initially, Gininda's answer was that there is no need sometimes to bring J50.
Yes.
On the basis, we even discussed this thing, on the basis that if you feel that this person is needed or is danger, I don't know, something like that, then you arrest that person.
If you feel like they're about to commit a crime or they are committing a crime
that.
or you are seeing the criminals' activities happening before you and you need to make an immediate arrest.
I even said that. I said that, was that the case now when he says there is no need sometimes to bring the J50? Because previously we had explained that these are the conditions where you can be arrested on the spot with that J50. So, when you say there is no need sometimes for J50, did Ntanzi at the time meet those requirements? And in my own thinking, it was no. Because you went to Ntanzi and you were hunting for Ntanzi.
His premises.
Yes.
They arrested
you even use your
place
intelligence.
Of residence.
But in his answering, he wanted to now make it look like there was a J50.
I was a judge for all the 5 accused. They were
which is now he's answering for 636. Let's continue.
Make him stop. Well, he said that he was not giving evidence. It is the evidence that he listened to. He said, I know most of y'all throwing shade to us that we're going to say that he is answering on behalf of the witness. But we are letting it go. At least you see it now. Then Gininda said, okay, my lord. And Mshololo said that she was speaking of the Nongoma case, not the one that they are currently busy with. And she also said, and also under the Nongoma 28911 of 2012, which is the docket that was supplied to us, also there was no warrant of arrest. Then accused number 2 was arrested until today. Then Gininda said, yes, the same thing with the third case, which is the Fosteloras case 88-6 of 2012. And Gininda said, yes. Colonel Mboto testified.
Now, do you see? That answer is lost from the noise that is created by the judge, Gininda, and everyone else. The answer to that is that there was no warrant of arrest when Ntanzi was arrested. And that's what Mshololo was highlighting.
Yes.
So Ntanzi was wrongfully arrested.
Because even the judge in the Rustenburg threw the case out for that specific reason.
Thank you very much.
No warrant of arrest.
So, was that person lost? She was asking questions that were relevant.
She was asking questions that were relevant.
It depends on how you decided to hear.
But it seems like they want something out of what she's asking.
No, they're throwing her off. But I hear people that maybe it's the understanding. If you listen to Mshololo without understanding what had happened prior to that, like understanding Ngomezulu's line of questioning, and then, because what is Mshololo is doing most of the time is to highlight the highlights of everyone's questions. That's what Mshololo is doing. There was no J50 in the arrest of Ntanzi. And the answers are 2 answers that Gininda gave. They're different.
They are. They are very different. That's what happens when you answer ngama essay. Colonel Mpoto testified about the statement that he took on behalf of accused number 1. On the statement taken from accused number 1 on the 30th of May 2020, before the statement was taken, it would have come to attention that he wanted to make it during the day. And Gininda said that he wasn't aware. So Mshololo asked, before the statement was taken by Colonel Mpoto, it would have been to attention that the accused had indicated to take a statement. At what time of the day did you become aware that the accused wanted to make a statement? And Gininda said, I did testify about this. I even disclosed in my diary from the time I was involved leading up to the day. Then what is the time? It's in your diary.
You are not answering the questions again. It's a simple thing. I just want you to look at how Mshololo's questions, at least 90% of them, they were either wrongly answered on purpose or not on purpose, I don't know. But it seems at some point they were just on purpose. It was just on purpose.
What is the time? I'm like, yo, my way, yo.
Let's continue.
Mshololo then asked, why was accused number 1 not taken to the magistrate to make the statement? And Gininda said that it was a Saturday. I met him around 7 o'clock in the evening. That's 1900 hours. Commissioned officers also carried the power to take the statement. Then Mshololo asked if he indicated that he wanted to freely make a statement. Why was it taken at night? Why didn't you wait for the following day?
Let's just pause there. The question is why accused number 1 was not taken to the magistrate.
Yes.
Again, this question was asked. You took Ndanzi to the peace officer, and then you took Ndanzi
to the
magistrate.
Yes.
And I will give you the answer that was given there. The answer that was given on that, why accused number 1 was never taken to the magistrate, only taken to the peace officer. The answer was such that Ndanzi made that confession, and when Mjiako came in, they made a plea deal, and that plea deal warranted Ndanzi to go to the magistrate. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yes.
That.
Now, the answer that is given for Ndanzi, for accused number 1, that question was asked for accused number 1. Now, the same question is asked. Now, we are told that it was Saturday and whatnot and whatnot.
So he's taking that plea deal situation
out of equation.
Out of the equation.
Yes.
For accused number
because
1.
It did look dodgy that Ndanzi had to make 2 confessions.
Yes, it did.
Why did he have to do 2 confessions?
Yes.
At the time, for a plea deal to come in, it was to avoid the follow-up question. Why did he have to take 2 confessions? What was wrong with the first one? Now, he created a scenario where he explained why he had to take Ndanzi to the second person.
Magistrate.
Yes. Now, he's asked the very same question. Now he's telling us it was Saturday.
It was Saturday.
And whatnot.
They were not waiting.
It was late and whatnot. So, again, I say, I enjoyed Mshololo's line of questioning, because if you can compare what was asked previously and what the answer was to what the answer is when Mshololo asked it, those answers, as I'm saying, they were 2 different answers.
And you have to also know that Nxumalo was asking whether the magistrate and the peace officer same powers, right? So it's same powers. Why didn't Ndanzi need to make 2 confessions?
There is always a cohesion between Nxumalo and Mshololo's line of questioning. Nxumalo opens the wound. Mshololo puts the salt on the wound. So Nxumalo's questions, they sound, some of them, not relevant.
Yeah, they sound like.
But when you follow them up with Mshololo, then that's where you see these people are working together. They have that cohesion. So the question was asked by Nxumalo to just open and leave this thing open to say,
And
are they
open it
even
was.
equal? Because now you have to explain, why did you still now take this person further to that?
To make another
yes, to
confession.
make another confession.
But the other one, who's accused number one, actually, the one you arrested first,
Yes,
they didn't go to a magistrate.
exactly.
So Mshololo asked if he indicated that he wanted to freely make a statement. Why was it taken at night? Why didn't you wait for the following day? I think this was a good question. I mean, you just arrested the man. You arrested the person. They are all frazzled up. I've just been arrested. And in that June-July situation of anxiety, you just say, confess. So yeah, Gininda answered by saying that where is it regulated when the statement should be taken? I'm not aware of a law that says it can only be taken in the morning.
This has
How
nothing to
rude.
do with the law. This has more to do with the behavior of a person under circumstances when they are arrested. Perhaps the right question would be to lay the basis for this question. When you've been a police for years, when you have arrested a person before, what is their state in the first few hours when you arrest them, normally, based on your own observation as a police? And then the answer would probably be that they mostly are shaken
And they want to get out
they want to get out.
of the situation.
And then that's when now you bring that issue of saying, now, do you think it was right for you to actually take the statement or to even take that confession at a time where someone could have been in that state that you've just explained now? Now that makes it a bit sweeter, because a person has explained the state of a person that are arrested, after getting arrested during the first few hours. Now, when you follow up with your question, it makes it even more easier, because the answer that he gave is actually the trap.
Mshololo asked the accused when they made the statement, it was taken at 21:45. This is 9:45. The accused was supposed to be sleeping at that time, resting. And Gininda said, I don't know how counsel knows that.
Now you see,
I don't know the sleeping pattern of the accused.
You see now what that does, because there are no bases. There, Mshololo had a chance of laying those bases. And then from there, he could have answered. She could have asked any question. Now, to assume that they could have been resting at the time,
Yes.
it's a different story. Maybe if you come with something like, I did ask accused number 2 as to what time they sleep. Accused number 1, what time they sleep. They said they sleep at 10. Do you think was it past the time where they sleep according to what they are saying? Now they are saying that they sleep at 10, and you took the statement at around whatever time.
Okay.
That makes matters easier in that sense, because you can see that you are dealing with someone who's got an answer for everything, and also is going to think about such things. I mean, it is common sense that someone is sleeping unless they are working a night shift around that time. But
Yes.
he is not going to give you what you want. So for you to actually put him on a corner, you must have a bit of factual. And sometimes you must create those facts around the answers that that person gives. And then you make them facts because you have given such answers.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Well, Gininda said that he was let known by Sergeant Mohola that the accused wanted to confess. And Mshololo asked if there is a written note where it's recorded that on such and such a day, accused number 2, after his rights had been explained to him, he wanted to make a statement. And Gininda said it's recorded in his diary. He said he testified about this. that diary, if it could sing, if it could talk.
I can see what Mshololo was trying to do here and what he's trying to do.
All right.
It's to say it is your word against the accuser's word.
Yeah.
Which in any sense the accuser is defying what you are saying. He's saying, I did not want to confess. I was coerced to confess. And you are saying there was an agreement.
And
yes, there was an agreement that this person want to confess. Did you or do you have a proof of that agreement before we even talk about that confession, whether it is admissible? If you don't have a proof of that, then we cannot accept on the basis that we are saying that that is what happened. We can only just be in the middle, and in this case, therefore, the court should rule in favor of the accused, because the accused is saying, I did not do this thing voluntarily.
Gininda said he was never aware of that and that he never heard of that where the accused must sign a diary. So Baloyi wanted clarity on whether Mshololo was asking about accused number 1 or 2. The judge said that she's using them interchangeably. This is where I noted that these people are lost. It's because she's not laying the basis,
yes,
most probably, because the judge kind of stopped that from happening by accusing her of repeating questions. Then Mshololo asked about the pro farmer that is next to you when you make a statement, and Gininda gave another long explanation saying that it never happens. Yes.
When Mshololo was put in a corner to say, please quote what law, or if there's any thing that you can use as a formality with regards to, and he went to that performer to say, here's where these things should be catered for on. And then this guy tells you that do it with the word of mouth, then we'll finish it when we are there. It takes one lawyer to question that process, for that process to be questioned thoroughly. Indeed, there is a point there.
Well, Mshololo said, I put it to you, Brigadier, that is the standard procedure in the SAPS, that whenever you are conducting an interview, immediately when he is arrested and when there is an interview that is conducted, it must be recorded, and that form is assisting to ensure that the constitutional rights of the persons are not infringed. And Gininda denied this, saying that it's not true. He gave his own process and giving an example of someone walking in the streets then gets arrested. But the question is, did he investigate? Well, he says a warning statement is done at a later stage.
Look, there is
no cop who walks with papers in the streets.
There's a difference between someone walking on a street and committing crime. At that point, that's when you collect the evidence that will support you, that warranted you to arrest that person. But after doing your intelligence, your cold case intelligence and analysis that you claim that you have done, you should have prepared that you are going to arrest someone on a prepared situation. So you should have prepared properly. That would be my submission.
Yeah, considering that they arrested him at his home, you think that they should have prepared properly, right? And did he know that he was being investigated? I doubt it. So why would there be a need to not prepare the paperwork properly and arrest him like you're arresting a person walking in the streets?
Which is two different scenarios. You are saying you had collected enough information on this guy.
Yes.
So when you went to arrest him, there must have been that preparedness to say, we're going to arrest that person. Let us cover all the loopholes that can happen.
Well, Mshololo asked the statement that was taken at SAPS station by Mboto, why was it necessary for Monaring to be there? And Gininda said that he answered the question. Mshololo asked him if he doesn't want to answer or not, and Colonel Mboto said that the accused must be brought there, so he had to be taken there. That's why Munareng was there. This is Gininda answering. Then Mshololo asked, between you and Mboto, when the request was made, it was only you and him who knew about the case. He said only you and only you who knew about the case. My apologies. And Gininda said no, even the prosecuting team knew. There were others who knew. So everyone was, isn't interesting? Everyone was testifying, was saying Brigadier Gininda, Brigadier Gininda. So now he's saying that he's not assuming that leadership position that everyone has given him. He's saying now that everybody knew what he knew about the case.
Where do you think Mshololo is going with this question?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I can't.
I think it was clear where Mshololo was going with this question. Let me clarify. I think Mshololo asked this question to say, between the two of you, we are confiding this thing into two of you, which is Gininda and who was this guy who was called? Mboto. Between the two of you, you were the only one who had information about what is happening in terms of this guy's confession and the docket. So between the two of you, we're not asking whether the whole team that you owned knew about this thing. We know that. It's common sense. They have said that they were part of the arrest and whatnot. Mshololo was not asking on the broader scope of saying, you only knew about this thing amongst all SAPS. You will notice that when he said everyone knew, he said, so therefore, even this guy knew about this. Which if that was the case, then that guy would not be independent.
Yes, that's what he said.
So where Mshololo was going with this is that what was the conversation of you guys prior to this man coming and confessing? What did you tell that person? Didn't you perhaps discuss the case, which makes the person who's going to take this confession be biased because is privy to this case now, because they are not supposed to be. That's where Mshololo was going with the question. But the manner in which it was answered wrong, for me, it looked like it was on purpose. They didn't want to answer that question in that sense. Gininda, according to his testimony, between the two of these people that were talking, Gininda on the phone, the other one who's actually being instructed to take this confession, Gininda was privy to the docket and what was happening. And then he called this person to instruct this person. You remember Ngomezulu discussed, as to say, wasn't it going to be a better practice for you to actually, for a person who took Mboto, who took that confession, to actually instruct someone else, as there was a discussion between you who was privy to that information, more information about their case. That's where Mshololo was going.
I remember that.
What did you discuss? Didn't you discuss the case? This guy is in a case of Senzo Meyiwa. He wants to confess and whatnot, which will therefore compromise Mboto.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yes.
And the answer to that question was, everyone knew about this thing because we worked together, which is totally wrong. We are not asked at the level of your team who knew about this thing. You were asked about between the two of you. You were privy to the information of the case as you were leading investigator.
Mshololo asked, are you suggesting Mboto knew about the case? And Gininda said, no, he didn't.
Do you hear that question?
The prosecuting team also knew.
So if you would admit that Mboto knew about the case, therefore we are done. That person was not independent.
Yes. And then Mshololo asked, she moved to the statement of Magistrate Grenier regarding 24th June 2020, in which she said there were heavily armed police outside her office. And she asked how many police were there, and Gininda said, I only spoke to Sergeant Mohani. He coordinated that. So Mshololo asked, she said she asked these members to produce their pocketbooks and they disappeared. And Gininda said, I was not there. I won't be able to answer that. Mshololo asked, according to the evidence of Sergeant Mohani, they intended taking Tanzi to Foslor's court, but they received the call that he be taken to Moroka to make the statement. Gininda said, yes, I did inform him. And Mshololo asked, there is no proof that the statement was taken at Moroka police station. And Gininda said, Colonel Raphadu can come and testify to that. He has already testified, right?
Yes.
Mshololo then went through the OB entries of Mohani when he was booking accused number 2 in and out. And Mshololo asked, where is the proof that he was taken to Moroka police station in the OB entries? And Gininda said that Tanzi was not detained or incarcerated. He further said that there was no need for Mohani to make those entries. He just chose to. There's no regulation that you must make an OB entry. SAPS members, please answer. Please help us.
No. You don't even need SAPS here.
What?
They have been writing, these people, booking out to court. The question is right. Now we are being told that there's no need for that. Which one is which? When it suits you, it is right for you to write that Ntanzi went to court, because you want to use that to say that Ntanzi went to court in time. Now, when you have to keep on that standard, now you tell us, no, there's no need to write where you're going. Isn't the very same OP that is telling us going to court?
Yes.
Book out going to court.
Yes.
Book out from court.
But now when it has to be told that they're going to Moroka, it's not appearing, and they're saying actually that's not important to even fool that OB in the first place.
Exactly. So
he wasn't incarcerated. So then why was he there?
The answer was not being honest, in my own opinion. That in answering that, Gininda was not being honest. And this proves that speaking proper English, or at the time speaking softer, does not mean that indeed you are
telling the truth.
You're telling the truth. Because you debunk your own procedures that you've been doing. So now you can look at it this way. They could literally book this man out and say, book out. Book out. They beat this man. They come back and say, book in.
Because that's what it feels like. That's what was happening.
It just didn't make sense, but continue.
That's what it feels like. Mshololo said, I differ with you, Brigadier. The procedure in the SAPS is that when someone is booked into the books of the police station, Mshololo asked, where is the proof that this statement was taken at the time at Moroka police station? And Gininda said that there's no portion where you must give detention OBs on a SAP 14. It is simply practice for officers who prefer to do it. He went on and on and on again, and Mshololo was getting hot flashes and hot there. Apparently the aircon from where she was sitting is not working, and at some point she was even wiping sweat off of her face. So a lot of people were reacting to that, thinking that Brigadier Gininda is winning here.
We have a lot of
Accused number 1, who complained of assault in court, asked if it was related, meaning that the message was conveyed to him, and he said yes. The judge also added again, ati fafa kancane, ati Sergeant Mohola is the one who told the brigadier or Brigadier Gininda. Okay, and Mshololo said that the complaint should have been taken to IPID, and Gininda said no. Okay, there was no need for it to be taken to IPID. to compile a docket and take the docket to IPID, which they never reached that stage because accused number one could not find supporting evidence to his allegations that he was being tortured and beaten. So that's how the court ended. Will continue today.
Right.
So.
Right. 2 people. 2 people. Questions.
So the fact that even a docket is needed before you go to IPID, the very same person that you are accusing are the ones that need to file a docket for you on your behalf and send it to IPID as you are incarcerated. He doesn't call it an incarceration, but what is it? What is it called? Because the court said
the police
there's no case in Rustenburg, and then you drag him all the way to Gauteng, and then he makes a confession. Like, I don't understand. I'm so confused when it comes to the arrest of these 2 people.
The police are made to be demigods that don't do anything wrong. That's a problem with the system. There should be an independent department that is not controlled perhaps through the justice system, that looks or that sits with people like who's this person? PP.
Who's PP? Or public protector.
Yes, maybe there. It's situated there. Not controlled by the Minister of Justice.
Oh yeah, that was actually the initial assignment of the public protector.
Yes, that is
to fight for us.
That is used to actually look after for people who are in jail, who file with IPID. Those people should be used to file with IPID. That would make things to be so independent from the justice system. You can't use the very same system to fight the very system. It just doesn't make sense.
In my opinion, it will never reach.
Only if you are reporting someone they don't like.
Unless if maybe you find a family member who can complain on your behalf while you're incarcerated. But then they're listening to your phone calls, right? Unless if you manage to sneak in a cell phone, it's going to be difficult for you to complain with IPID. As you can see, they're saying that he needed to compile a docket. He's busy trying to solve the Senzo Meyiwa case, and you think he would open a docket of brutality
against his team that is heading?
I don't see that happening. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Right.
So guys, those of you who can call in. If you
let's just read people. If no one calls in, and I'm done.
And we'll be back again today.
Nat, thank you for being with us, Nat.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you so much.
Dipuo, thank you being with us. Mthokozi Silanga, thank you. Modley, thank you. See you on the comment. Pal Kumalo, thank you. Sizom Kaka, thank you.
Thank you.
Welagiti, thank you. Victor, thank you. Just gonna, I don't know whether it's Bomo Entertainment. Thank you. I don't know if I read your entertainment right.
I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
I am not seeing it. But
Mohata, thank you. Let me see. Ntati, thank you. Ansi K. Moyo, our moderator.
Ansi K.
Thank
Moyo.
you. Eunice,
thank you.
Butali, thank you.
Butali.
I don't know if that's the right way. Vendor can be complicated, eh? Is it vendor or Tsonga?
Butali. I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
But it's V.
Or
VH.
If it's VH, is vendor.
Yeah, it's vendor.
Butali. Butali.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Who did I miss? Who did I miss? I think, guys, Mamkwa. Thank you. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Mzansi Reality, hello.
Oh my God. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Switch off the internet here.
I'm good, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
we
you.
can hear you now.
I'm just seeing how this page is unfolding.
We can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Can shoot.
You see all these police team, everything that they say, they always come back and prove me right.
Yeah.
I'm so curious how this judge does this trial. If you remember with the engine garage story, all of the witnesses they deny anything had to do with the engine garage. And they thought the ABL, the tracker shows they went to the engine garage. From there is another one called red flag.
Yes.
Now, they denying assault issues. But the records are showing that indeed accused one and to try to report the assault in court.
Yes.
But the magistrate whatever you are thinking, I don't know what's going on with this magistrate.
Yes.
And the issue of his trying to address the court regarding this type of guy.
Yes.
He made the attempt and missing 2 minutes was very valuable in court. Some say some who don't follow this case will didn't say anything. You keep 2 minutes is very valuable because if you check the points highlighted from those transcripts, they also very valuable for me. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Strong, guys. What I've observed now,
Thank you.
you are working so hard to help us catch up as we are working long hours. But now we have a challenge of people who didn't follow this case from the start.
Okay.
I saw the wind that came from there. There is no from there. The Gininda is trying nonsense. I don't know what you are looking for it. There was no from there. But now, the strong guy, actually, we have been due from the start to understand what's going on there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Don't mind those who didn't follow this case from the start. Keep us updated. Keep going, guys.
Thank you.
A lot. So those who are interested in the
Yes.
and some of us were praying for time. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
Nombuso.
it is a lot.
Bye, Nombuso. CN Poker Shop.
Bye, Nombuso.
Let me see. Yes. I have Matumelo. It's by DJ Oza.
DJ Oza.
Sipiwo. Nana. Yes. Yes. Those are people that I managed to catch and call out. Thank you guys for being with us. If I didn't call your name,
guys.
Zanele Sankobe. Thank you.
Now we will unpack. By the end of this journey, all of us are gonna be law experts, okay?
Yes, that's what the explanation was given. Happy hour, thank you. Yes,
no
guys.
one is gonna be tatazing. If you're part of Mzansi Reality, you're not gonna be tatazing in a court.
Yes, guys.
Listen
I think that's it from my side. Excuse, Madons Siyabonga. Bonga cool. And then DJ, bye bye everyone.
Bye guys.
Let us like
Thank
the
you
video
so
on our way
much.
out.
Yes, as we exit,
and then
we
share
exit
wherever we can share. Thank you.
with a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Bye.
Bye.